Hello, folks. This is the Deal by Me podcast with Dr. James W. Smith, your host, where we ask our guests to tell us their story. Our story is about encouraging, inspiring, and transforming a life. Today we have with us Julie Hilsen, and she will do that uh, with us right now. Julie, it is so good to have you with us today. And I want to just begin by asking if you will share with us a little about your background, where you are coming from this today, and just tell us in your own words little bit about yourself.
Sure. But first of all, I'd like to tell you what an honor it is to be connecting with you today and all your people and just I want to appreciate your mission and the way you bring light in and that you're reaching out and doing this, with me and together for everyone that, needs to hear a message. So I honor that and it's my extreme pleasure to be here today. Yeah. So gosh, my story, I grew up in the Midwest and great family, supportive. I'm the third. I have two older brothers and a younger sister. So I'm that classic middle child. Just, my family's just big. My mom's from a family of six. My dad's from a family of four. So we always had strong family. And I was always intrigued by anyone who was different from us. I was always drawn to anybody who looked different, who spoke different. My family used to tease me that I hung out with the UN because I just adore all different types of people. And I think my mom knew from an early age I wasn't going to follow a normal spiritual path. And she always told me that, as long as you believe in God and a higher power, everybody who can align with that is a good person. And you don't have to go to the same church. You don't have to go to the same synagogue or mosque. It's about your heart and your humanity. And so that's what my mom instilled in me. And so I just was always drawn to spirituality and different religions. And I didn't study it in college. I'm not an expert, but I guess I'm a curious appreciator of anything that brings in love and light and just gives people hope. I mean, I always wanted to help, and I always opened my heart to God and Jesus to say, hey, what can I do? How can I make things a little better? So that's been my guiding force. And of course, life takes over and you go to school and you check the boxes and you're doing everything you feel like you should do. And the classic middle child, I'm just looking for everyone's appreciation. And if everyone around me is happy, then to me I'm good because I'm a doer and I like to please and be busy. If I have a house full of people and I can cook for them, that's my joy. But the problem is if you live in a state where you're always looking for everyone's approval, you can get burnt out and you can feel like you're living for everyone else and not yourself. And so I sort of hit that I call it the zombie stage, where I was just like, I couldn't say things were bad because my husband's completely supportive and loving and we didn't have financial problems. I had two amazing, smart, wonderful boys, but I just felt like I was going through the motions and I felt like there's something more. So I'm going to stop there to see.
Okay, I understand. I
You had
understand.
a really open question, so I just
I
went off.
I understand. I understand very well, and that's what I want you to do. Which is, because uh, listeners are interested in the individuals that I'm interviewing. They want to know a little bit about them, the background, and what have you. And so this is good that you're sharing that with us. I noticed that you have written a book, and I don't know how many, but one of your books is, I think, is Life of Love, A Joyful Guide to Self and Sensuality. Am I
You got
correct in
it.
that?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Tell us why you decided to write that book.
Okay, so that's sort of my manifesto, if you could say it that way. I don't know. Um, and when I got stuck in that place of that zombie place, I was like, I just opened up my spirit. I was just like, whatever I need, please bring it in. And God brought me the angels, and they brought me Dr. Carolyn, and she helped me. She did an angel healing session with me. And, I started reading in the Bible about angels and how they've been a part of our story. And to me, the Bible is a huge history book. I mean, it gives us so many insights, and it's full of magic. It really is. So I wanted to live a life with more magic, more inspiration. I just wanted more joy. So I went on this quest, and I just started reading Deepak Chakra. I started reading anybody who was like connecting to higher source. And then I also got into yoga and grounding and my energy centers. And, I just went on all these different rabbit holes, just deep rabbit holes, and searched and meditated and prayed and, just
Let me
didn't
ask you.
give up.
No, well,
Yeah.
let me ask you this. Were you going through anything particularly that seemingly you just felt like you needed change? Because the book sounds as if you want to expose something, or you want to make certain that you kind of get into your inner soul. Am I correct in this thinking as I look at the title? So I'm wondering if you were going through anything particularly that
Mhm.
inspired you to say, I want to write this
Mhm.
particular book, Life of Love, a joyful guide to self and sensuality.
Yes.
So share with listeners uh, why you decided to do that, or
So
if
Dr.
you were going through anything.
Right. No, I was definitely going through stuff
Okay,
like a lot. And I had a lot of dark nights of the soul where I was just
okay.
like, what? I mean, who am I? Who am I not to be happy? God has given me so many gifts. I'm grateful. Like, and you look around, you have so many blessings, but how could I just, am I selfish? Like, I went through all these things, and I went through, like just on the floor crying and not being able to leave my room or not wanting to get out of bed because it just hurt too bad. But there was no big thing. I felt like I needed to be more connected to the world around me. And I felt like I was missing something, and my head hurt, and I didn't feel healthy, and I felt low energy and brain fog. And so I just had to figure it out. And so I had all these things in me, and you know, my marriage was fine, but I felt like I needed more joy. And I didn't want to look outside my marriage for joy. I think,
Do
and so
I hear you that you do, you have a family. You understand you're married. Do you have
mhm.
kids? Do you have kids?
Yeah, I have two boys,
Two boys?
19 and 16.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're awesome. So I was going through this when they were in elementary school, but COVID hit, and I started really being present with everything going on, and I found out about all these sex traffickers and these terrible things that were going on. And I was like, "Oh God, people don't know what I know." And people don't know how to love each other. And so to me, if you don't know how to love each other, you're not loving yourself, and you're looking, whatever. I don't understand that whole thing about, minors and the pedophilia and stuff, but I know it's a sickness, and I have compassion for somebody who has that problem. But at the same token, I was like, I need to do something to help. I need to do something to help the world love each other better.
I
And
know
one,
I know you may not want to answer this question, but whenever
mhm,
I hear someone talking about the pedophilia, sex trafficking, I
mhm,
wonder, are they connected to QAnon? I know you've heard of QAnon. Is that
hmm.
a belief of yours?
Not necessarily. I'm curious about people's beliefs. Like I said, I've always been curious about, and I never say, oh, that's completely, no, that could never. I mean, you have to use discernment. Like if you're drawn to listen to the cue drops, if that gives you hope, if that helps you center where your energy is going to a new, brighter day, I'm all for it. I mean, if that's something you want to look into, go ahead, I mean, why would that be less important than what we see on the news? I mean, they're just pumping fear on the news. So, I mean, yeah,
So
that's
you,
a
so
whole,
you, so you are about curiosity. You would, whatever it is that you feel like can bring an additional intellect to your thought pattern, you're willing to research that. Am I hearing that correctly?
yeah, it's like if Q was curiosity, that would be my thing. I'm a curiosity.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay.
So, so yeah, so I mean, when I opened up myself to the angels and to this magic of life and being fully present, I could love better. I love myself better. I had more joy. So I'm like, I think I need to write about it. And the angels kept bugging me to do it. They're like, Julie, you can do it. And they did. They helped me write this book. And when I read it, it's the messages I was supposed to remember, because we all know these things in our soul. We just forget them. And so it's things that I needed to be reminded of and things that the angels wanted me to share. So every single thing that I suggest someone to do, whether it's diet, exercise, getting to know your joy, relationships, everything has a devotion to ask God, Jesus, source, goddess, angels, divinity, whatever you resonate with. I have a devotion to ask for help, because that's the biggest thing, is that God says you need to ask. It says in the Bible, ask and you shall receive. And so I give the words to help people ask. And if they want to connect to God's helpers and the angels and the light, then they can, the angels can't intervene until you ask. So I give the words to ask. And if it resonates with you, if it feels right to you, you can do it. And it's all about, living in your heart. So there's no negativity. Take what works for you and leave what doesn't. But you have these words to simply ask, because I think a lot of people want to connect, but they just don't know how. And I know I was scared. It took me 5 years to open up the angels. I knew about Dr. Carolyn. I knew that she could help me, but I was a little bit like, is she like a witch, or is she something that I don't want to connect to? Because I was scared. I didn't know. And so I had to work through my fears and know that God protects us when we're having good intentions, if we're coming from our heart. He wants to help us. And there are these beings of light that will support us, even if we can't touch or feel, or they'll leave signs, they'll show you repeating numbers. The angels are around us all the time. And so I wanted to give people a way to connect to that magic and just live a more happy life. And when you live happy, everyone around you is a little happier. And then it just goes out, out, and out. So to me, it's like this Cinderella story of let's just make the world a better place. And it might seem pie in the sky, but that's sort of why I wrote my book.
So when you're talking about connecting with the angels, you're talking about it from a spiritual aspect. Am I getting that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And,
right.
and it's simple. Like even like Dr. Smith, I'll be like, all right, angels, I'm running a little late today. It'd be really nice if I got a good parking spot at the grocery store. And I'll just get quiet and ask for my heart, can I please get a nice parking spot? And I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, there's a parking spot for me.
Yeah.
Like,
I hear you.
I mean,
Okay.
would you say spiritually? Like, yeah, but it's like everyday stuff. It's not
Okay.
like save my child, he's dying on the floor stuff. You know what I mean? And if it's not your time, I believe the angels do intercede. And I've had
Okay.
times where I've driven down the street and the wheel will the wheel will turn because I was going to get in an accident, but I didn't move that wheel. And
Okay.
these things happen. You talk to people will tell you.
Well, I am a pastor, Julie,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been pastoring now for almost 32 years. When I retire at the end of December, I will be short. I will be short of 2 months of actually pastoring 32 years at the same church. When I started this podcast, I started it because I wanted to continue my ministry. I wanted it to continue in a way where I felt I could continue to help somebody. People are going through difficult things, they have challenges in their lives. Some people may be depressed, some people have this going on with them. And so I said to myself, I want to book guests who have gone through some situations in their lives, have had an experience, have had events that have occurred that they can share and that they feel will benefit someone else. And also how these same experiences and events in their lives have even helped them personally in their daily challenges. So what I want to ask you is, what will you say to listeners who are listening to you today? What experiences and events that you have incurred that you think they can benefit from? Share a little bit of that with us.
Oh, I know everyone's journey is so individual, and if your people are still listening, there's something that they're attracted to that they're going to still listen. So I want to bring forth the highest message, and I don't want to be narcissistic and just focus on my stuff, because I'm here for everybody else. I just the message that's coming through is that there's so much that we have to work through. And we're here on this earth to be challenged, and it's not all a walk in the park, and there's going to be days where you, like I had, where you didn't want to get out of your bed, but you couldn't blame it on something like you had cancer, but I think if I would have stayed in bed, I probably would have gotten cancer, because negative thoughts can materialize into disease. I totally believe that. And there's research that's showing with this quantum physics that we can make subtle changes in our bodies that, we haven't been empowered to know about. I mean, it's not part of our medicine, but more and more research is coming forward. So that power of your thought is so important. And if you can stay, if you can realize and just be present and say, okay, this is a really shitty day. This is, people around me are making terrible choices. I feel out of control. This is chaos. And just recognize it. Don't run from it. Just face it and see if there's a little thing that you can do. Or maybe you just have to let things just sit for a minute. And maybe you don't need to stand up and be a warrior. Maybe you just need a nap and you need to recenter. So everybody, just give yourself some compassion. You don't have to be really strong. Sometimes you can just surrender, see where you are, and just let things calm down. Everyone wants to be so reactive and, I got to take charge and I got to post this on the internet, and but sometimes you just got to let the water settle so you can see what the real problem is. And maybe the problem even wasn't what you thought it was, but you were so emotionally charged. Your adrenaline was kicking in, and you're feeling attacked. And we have all these old wounds that, I mean, you can get into a lot of stuff, but we have lifetimes of wounds. Like when our soul reincarnates, and I don't know I don't want to step on any toes, but it's my belief that our soul reincarnates, and we might even bring from a previous lifetime issues. And I know I have trust issues. I have really bad trust issues, but I shouldn't, based on my life, I shouldn't. I mean, I've had relationship things everybody's had, but when I spoke with this woman who could go back into my records, she told me that I was actually a high priestess in Egypt, and I was stabbed in the back by my students. And so I had to look at that trust issue and say, okay, well, that was a long, long time ago, obviously, but I still have this trust issue. And I had to look at that. But that's just one example. But if you're having these feelings, it's because you need to work on those things. If you're feeling chaos outside of you, that's because you have chaos inside of you. So you have to go within and you have to trust that your soul wants to be joyful, and you have to work through these things to get to the joy.
Well
So
said.
just keep it up. Keep drinking water, to keep taking care of yourself. Do the things you can to have a healthy body so you can lift your spirit to where it wants to be. You have to have your feet on the ground because we're living in a 3D. We got to eat, we got to survive. We have to feel our community around us. But what's most important is you take care of yourself, because everybody, we live as one. Everybody's energy affects everyone else, whether we like it or not. So you be in charge of you and find out what you need. What's bothering you is what's most important.
Okay, let me ask you this. How have these experiences and events that you have encountered helped you in your daily challenges? Have you felt that you have grown as a result of them? Or
Well, no, I mean, I still have these times where I'm just like, and I forget to ask for help. I forget to go to God. I forget to get quiet and go to God, and I don't do what I say. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do that. And I catch myself. And so I don't stay on the low spaces as much. It's sort of like a spiral. And if you can keep advancing on the spiral, you won't dip as far. You catch yourself. You're like, oh, I'm feeling like this. And I'm not going to make the same mistakes I made last time. I'm not going to yell at my husband because that makes him defensive, even though he did something that I don't appreciate. I asked him not to do it. Like, me yelling at him doesn't help because that makes me a victim. So I'm going to reorganize my path. I'm going to remove myself till I can be calm and say, honey, I felt a little let down. Can we do something? Can we change it? I don't want to be let down. I want to just love you. I want to love you to death every day. I just want to love you to death. So let's figure out how we can just love each other to death. That's a really different thing than, why did you do that? You know what I mean? Like, honey, I was let down. Can we help each other? Like, let's be a team. So like, if you make a mistake, have compassion for yourself and then choose how you wanted it to go. Picture in your mind it going the way that you wanted it to go. Ask God for the highest outcome. This sucks, but God, what's the highest outcome? How can we make this better? So yeah, that's
Julie. I know listeners are really going to appreciate your honesty and your sharing this with us today. So I know this book, Life of Love, A Joyful Guide to Self and Sensuality. Share with us how we can get your book, how listeners can get it.
Yes, well, right now it's available on Kindle. If you go on Amazon and you type in Life of Love, A Joyful Guide to Self and Sensuality, it'll come up. And my print copy it's taken a little longer because I have pictures and I have worksheets and fill in the blanks. I have a word search in there. I have a problem solving tree. So Amazon wasn't sure how to print my book. So it's taking them a while to print it, but you can pick it up and it will be available. I'm going to make it 99 cents the first couple days that like the digital comes, the print comes out, it'll be on special. So if you keep checking or like my book, it'll send you updates when I have the special promotion. But I'm working really hard with my publisher to get the paper copy out. And then an audiobook's coming this spring. So if you're into audiobooks, I'm going to start recording that after Christmas.
And do you have a website where folks can get a little bit more insight about you if they are interested?
Absolutely. It's www.youneedapeptalk.com. And I have my podcast episodes on there and you can comment. So if there's something we talk about and you're like, oh, I tried that and this is what worked for me, it's like a forum. You can just type in and connect with my listeners. So that's a sort of fun thing because I love the podcast world. This has been amazing being a part of this. And so I really wanted to just have it's like you put your podcast out, but unless someone tells you if they liked it, you don't really know how it's received. You get views, but there's no, I guess I like feedback for whatever reason. Maybe I'm gonna regret that at some point. I'm gonna make someone mad, but I guess I put myself out there.
Well, Julie, I just want to say thank you for sharing your story with listeners today. It has been a joy uh, interviewing you. Your honesty has come forth, and I do really appreciate it.
Well,
Well,
I just loved our conversation, and thank you for giving me the avenue to share. And I know the angels helped me give some messages that they wanted to say. They're here, they're all around us. So, all the love, and just everyone know that we're all in this together, and you're never alone. You are never alone.
well, there you are,
Mm.
Julie Hilsen, sharing with us today and talking about her book, Life of Love, A Joyful Guide to Self-Sensuality. If you have enjoyed this podcast, please go to my website, www.dealbyme.com, and check my books out. Deal by Me, A Golden Opportunity Blown, Deal by Me, second edition, a self-evaluation. And I can assure you, you will be encouraged, you will be inspired, and I know you will be transformed. And until next time, peace and blessings to each of you.